everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. Yet another celebration of the far corners of battle rap here away from the UK. We are going on to a league that has long held, a high place in my heart. And for a lot of people cherish a lot of these battlers, a lot of these battles. That is No Coast. And we're going to get to a top 5. We're going to count down some awesome battles of a league. Maybe you've heard of No Coast, you've seen it on your suggested subs, but you haven't checked it out. Needs a lot of love there, as all leagues do, really, even the top ones. And we're going to celebrate that with Kelly in a second. Just before that, though, please follow the show at battlerapresume. Get in touch, battlerapresume@gmail.com if you want to come on the show. Correspondence, Patreon is there as always. Leave us a review on iTunes. But Kelly, we'll get straight into it. I love league names. I love the nomenclature of battle rap, and I really can't get enough of No Coast as a league name. It's a fantastic moniker.
Thanks so much. I'm really lucky to have picked a name that stood the test of time. Before we get started, I gotta say I'm a huge fan of Battle Rap Resume. I've listened to almost all of them, and it's really exciting. I'm really happy to be a part of this. And I gotta say, as a huge scene enthusiast of a decade plus, you've done a lot of work for battle rap and for the culture, if you will. So thank you, Tom, for putting in all the work you have.
Oh, no, thank you, man. Thank you. And this has been great. I have to be honest with you, viewers. I pretty much opened up to Kelly and said, give me, a top 5, we'll discuss. But I trusted his judgment because, you are No Coast to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, I'm they call me the face of the league. And I started the thing off. I've been in various levels of involvement throughout our 8 years. But for the last 3, I was the president, if you will, or head. Recently handed it off to Pompey, but basically I'm kind of it's just a good focus because it's 40 people rotating as the talent and the staff, and so you're talking about such a large group. It's good to just have one guy to be here's the vision, and the kind of mental state where we want to keep things. So yeah, I'm the key holder.
And, you mentioned No Coast, 8 years or so deep. It does have a huge history that we don't necessarily have time, to go through event by event, but it is storied. I definitely need to learn more about it. But I mean, just for you as a league itself, No Coast, give us a quick history, how important it is to its area.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, people are legends here. It started in a college town, Columbia, Missouri, where I'm sitting right now. And it came about very organically. There was an alternative comedy night where lots of really weird stuff was happening. And Columbia's entertainment scene in general is very I just saw a burlesque show last night. That's not that unusual at all. Sure. There's multiple circus sideshow, freak shows that my friends and bandmates have been in. So battle rap just, has always been around. It's also a really competitive place rap-wise because it's so transient. And so there was some hip-hop open mics that were happening, freestyle battles, and then basically Pompey and I started really nerding out on a cappella written battles for YouTube and started hosting them at the comedy night, and then kind of were okay, come with us, we're making it its own thing now. And it's huge. And so in Columbia, it's the birth of legends come from here, and it's now in Chicago as a staple, Minneapolis, Kansas City, St. Louis, and hope soon other places, Kansas City off and on. So throughout the Midwest, we have spread. But it's just the biggest thing to ever come out of Columbia, Missouri, music-wise. Couldn't be prouder, I'm like a local celebrity. It's awesome.
And I don't want to be broad netting a league, I know, but you can say there is a Don't Flop style, there's a URL style, whatever. Is there a No Coast style?
I'd say we're pretty diverse. I hate to be so whatever corporate, oh well, actually. But I think the feedback I get is that people have more fun at our events than at other battle events. We really are a group of friends, and the people we work with are just based off of who we get along with and not necessarily who's the most talented. And so it's huge party atmosphere. I mean, the scene that this came out of was just oh my God, partying until 6, 7 a.m., every time people were in town and bouncing from one house party to another. And it just started off super full-blown intense party scene kind of thing where the battle was just the first of a long night of hanging out and freestyling and freestyle battling. So while we're not teenagers anymore and we don't stay up till 6 a.m., there's definitely that still like, hey, we're hanging out and the battles are just part of what we're doing. So I don't know. We're having fun. I'd say fun is the no-code style.
And, so many great battlers have came through no-coast, notably XQZ, Breakneck, Carter Deems has featured there. You've also had Reverse Live, Real Deal. It's been such a stable of talented appearances.
Yeah. Really early on, two things happened that helped us because we're one of the first 5 battle leagues on YouTube. Like, of course, battling has a long history that I'm a huge enthusiast of. But as far as leagues for YouTube, we're either the 3rd or 4th one to ever come onto YouTube. And early on, Fresco was living outside of Chicago, and he saw us, and I think it's like a six-hour drive. So he would come down to almost all of our events. So we had Fresco co-signing us from Grind Time. We had Sunny Bamboo coming and helping us book events. And we kind of had that Grind Time co-sign.
Sure.
And then the first talent we had from out of town come and battle was Unorthodox Phrases and some other guys from Florida where Grind got started. So we were lucky that people that were into what we were doing were respected in the scene, and that kind of just snowballed. So,
and as I said, today we're going to be looking at the top 5 battles, going through, reminiscing, or for me, recollecting very recently. These are battles I don't have a history of, to be honest with you, but very entertaining to make notes on. Looking forward to dig into these. But as a list as a whole for you, Kelly, making this top 5, it was difficult, I suppose.
Yeah, I made one list that was, I think, like the most easy to watch battles, like the most impressive. And then I threw that out and started over. And I was like, how can I honestly represent the league to someone seeing these battles for the first time? And just what do I have like anecdotal history for? Like some of these I picked because I just want to share the behind the scenes things that happen because they make them better than the actual watching experience. So I think they're all great battles, but some classics I didn't include would definitely be when Madness came and battled our female MC Mudslinger.
Right.
All jokes. That battle for sure. Wise Guy from Florida came and battled XQZ, and it was all Jewish jokes because they're both Jewish. And that was kind of before angles, whereas like it used to just be you'd call each other faggots. And so hearing a battle that was all a specific angle was big. Those two definitely come to mind that didn't make it on the list. Fresco versus Cadalack Ron over Beat.
Yeah, over Beat.
These 5 are all going to be fun to talk about.
So Saurus versus Mood Swangz is the first one.
Now, I was supposed to battle Daylight back at Blackout, but he had a bad emergency. It was frustrating, but I understand. It's always family first for me. Now it's deja vu for Fatty. Once this avalanche occurs, you'll see it's been a decade since I buried you, bitch. Happy anniversary. You get clocked at 6:30, dropping with both hands. You getting hungry at just the thought of watching me go ham. About to cook up something off top when the toast jams. I built 3.
Fuck you and every member in your little Fresh Coast fraternity. Lambda, 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 bitch, you rap like fucking nerds to me. Y'all love to rap about that gangster shit like kidnappings, straps, and burglaries, and word it so those pearly white suburbanites can understand it perfectly. I suggest you call a Fresh Coast emergency and let them know that Swangz is on a motherfucking murder spree. Looks like Chicago's back in business, fam. This ain't...
No Coast Chicago. I love the opening rap song, which actually samples Diamonds on My Windshield by Tom Waits. So that's odd to hear. The sort of open, fretless, sliding bass. It's criminal that this has 11,000 views. Yeah.
I mean, all I can tell you is that, the battles we try to host, our best battles, have a reach well outside the battle scene in that Chicago rappers and Chicago rap fans really cared about this battle. And that comes off on film. You can see how big of a deal it is. And it's like, yeah, only 11,000 people watch it on YouTube. But I know that there's like legends that really cared about this happening. It was a 10-year reunion of Mood Swangz versus the Source at Scribble, and the whole West Coast, Fresh Coast, versus Mood Swangz beef that went on for years. This was just a huge thing to happen.
And Saurus, he's sort of the dictionary definition of a legend, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. He's one of the only. I mean, he's really easy to get along with, but still one of the only guys I like kind of fanboy out when I see him freeze up. You know, I'm just like, oh God, this is hard to comprehend how much you've done.
And the cliff notes for Mood Swangz, like this is a big deal. His return, right?
Yeah, he's stayed active in Chicago this whole time, just for music. And she's one of the Chicago rappers that has a pull. Like if you get him on a card to do his music, there's going to be like, 50 or 100 people that come and will get tickets just to see him. So it's kind of funny, these two worlds of like the music world versus the battle world, where you're like, oh, I haven't seen that name in a while. Versus if you're into underground Chicago rap, it's like he's whatever in your top 10. So it's these worlds kind of play against each other, and we try to think outside of just the bad world and put on what people in person would really love to see, and what means something to a city. We've had a lot of matches that are like, to Minneapolis, needs to happen.
Sure.
And then YouTube doesn't really care, but we care because we come from that rap scene. All of us at the core of the No Coast, bookers and promoters, we're all music guys. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of our big focus.
Yeah. And I mean, May 2016, this battle, why is it so special to you?
Like I said, 10-year anniversary. It's settling a beef, because Mood Swangz was just like the Fresh Coast killer. I mean, if you can think back to like 2009, like all those Fresh Coast dudes were just like years ahead, and the only guy that was getting in their way and beating more than one of, there was a few upsets, but the only guy that was like coming in and consistently beating the West Coast dudes was Mood Swangz. And that was really weird. His style just played against theirs in a certain way. I think because of just, he induces blunt force trauma while they're being very technical. And so this was like a beef to be settled. It's, there's people, in that crowd, it was like everybody, a lot of the crowd is hearing about the Saurus for the first time and being like, okay, this is the best versus our guy, because they see him as like the representative of the city. The crowd was great. The crowd was Fresco and Spy MC. And then you had like just some classic, rapmusic.com, commentary legends, Rocky from there, Boom Bap Rocky, and Irate and Maple Leaf were all in the building. So yeah, it was special for a lot of different reasons, definitely.
Mm-hmm. 3 cold rounds that came to life, Frosty the Snowman. We get a lot of...
Yeah, which I heard was said in a URL battle.
Oh, right.
I heard. Okay. I just remember that being something on the forums, but it had been said before. Yeah.
Some very 2016 bars from Saurus. He mentions the next president's going to be Bernie Sanders, and that he's the bear from The Revenant. It's a nice antiquity there. But I think Mood Swangz grows in notoriety throughout the battle. He's good in his first, but his third, I think he goes on a slaughter.
Yeah, he definitely takes the ball and runs with it there. He's just being relentless. He really means what he's saying. There's nothing, I think it makes it look like the Saurus is putting rhymes in the way of his insults, and Mood Swangz is just not letting anything hold him back. He's just like, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and you believe him. And it just, I don't know. He's still in the room. I mean, he just lit up the room. It's he's got that unique angles, unique presence, and he just took it.
Yeah, great flow throughout the entire thing, really. Lots of your lady, put more beavers on screens and Nat Geo cameras. He keeps shushing the crowd as well, which is nice to see. He's eager to get stuff out. Calls Saurus Governor Christie as well, which, is valid, I suppose, in some sort of way. But Saurus keeps going. He does have that consistency, irresistibly so. And I maybe think he wins this battle, but, they're both winners in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, this is just two heavy hitters. When you think that the Saurus is out of town, thousands of miles away from where he lives, with nobody there with him, surrounded by all these Chicago fans that just want to see him lose, how good he did is just incredible. It stands, it's just like that only comes from a decade of experience, just being comfortable in that situation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Excellent stuff, really, from both of them. At the end, did I notice a Radiohead tribute by yourself?
Yeah. I have an album. People seem to like it. I mean, I've gotten really good feedback.
Hail to the Computer Kid.
Samples. Yeah. So the reason it's called that is it's all samples from Hail to the Thief, OK Computer, and Kid A.
Right.
And I put it through a Roland 808, and I used the effects from the Roland. So it's all Radiohead sounds glitched out on a retro drum machine, and I rap over it.
I need to check that out. Is there any Idiotech on there?
No, it's just from those 3 albums. Okay. I might make a sequel one day.
I think that's from Kid A.
But this one is just it's a concept album, but I love it. It's like, glitched and heavy and weird and kind of like a, floating through space on shrooms kind of like feeling to it. I don't know. It inspired me to write some very personal lyrics, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and I mean, the battle as a whole is incredibly even battle. Swangz was very effective, I think, overall. Showed that an older grind time style, can still pop off to a certain extent. And it was a success mostly in the room. Some of Saurus's flips don't get the response perhaps they deserve. But I think all in all, it's pretty captivating. What are your closing thoughts on this battle, man?
In person and watching it, I have Swangz taking it in 3, but it's, what are you going to do? It's like a 9 to an 8. I mean, it's, the Saurus failed in no way. He had everything stacked against him, and the fact that it makes sense that he's there and he holds his own. I mean, only a few people in the world could have come close to what Swangz was doing with that crowd.
Yeah, I think Saurus works. He has a lot of good stuff, especially in his third as well. But yeah, that is a great choice. And the next choice is from an event you threw recently, which is just, very, very impressive how it was pulled off, what a mixture of leagues it was. This is effectively sort of KOTR and No Coast, Snow Coast 2, hosted by Lush. We've got Kinell, who is a genuine huge friend of the show. He's been on many times. He's been on Mastermind with Crafty. Definitely check out. Versus Billy Shakes in some basement. This is true battle rap, right?
How is this fanny supposed to get me stressed? Fucking say you rep GZ, but GZ doesn't exist. It's pronounced GZ.
Yeah, facts. That is facts.
Yeah, I can't take anything you say serious. Even your initials are a load of BS.
Wow.
I don't give a fuck about literal inaccuracies or anything I say or mention. My entire research for this battle was watching South Park the movie, and I was not paying attention.
Shout outs to Animal Gun. That's me, Wiz, and Reverse Tribe.
What up?
Shout out to Wiz and Reverse. Wiz, Reverse, hi. Check out to the fucking ceiling. It's reverse height. Yo, Billy back being a wizard. Every verse I emit at reverse time. What, y'all didn't catch the reverse rhyme the first try? Emit in reverse? Nice. It's the verb time? Woo! That's a whole lot of verse in the first line.
Yeah, this was fun. This was done intentionally. This was like, hey, it would be the craziest thing to do with these, whatever, drunk motherfuckers, King of the Ronalds. Let's feed them acid and shove them in a basement. So it's just us. We didn't want a venue getting in the way. I got to mention Billy Shakes is like an internet buddy of mine. We get along really well. Kinell, when I met him, first thing, he comes up to me and he's drunk and I don't know if he thought he had something to prove or like people are pointing at me being like he's in charge, so he thinks he's got to take me down a peg, call it cultural differences. He was like trying to start a fight with me. Like he was all snaps and all insults, but like in a mean-spirited way out of nowhere. And we're like all partying and hanging out. And then he keeps coming up and insulting me to my face. Like he really wanted to fight.
Right.
And, I know how I sound, how I look, but I've been around the block like a lot, and so it wasn't my first time facing that. And I think he was impressed with me, my calm demeanor, and still smiling at him and kind of firing back. And now we're friends. Now my next album that's coming out in collaboration with DJ Pompey is a tribute to Wu-Tang. So we wanted to to be a huge group collaboration, and so he's one of the main contributors.
I mean, it's a huge event. Real Deal is here. Reverse Live is there. Kinell, of course. Huge battle. Billy Shakes is from Edmonton, right?
Yes, I think so. Yes, one of those smaller cities in Canada.
The Mambowski there as well. huge fan of Bowski. And Kinell, his style, it kind of fits this ramshackle setting, right?
Oh, yeah. I think both of them are made for like a loud, drunken basement. Like, people are screaming stuff the whole time and pushing them, and everybody's getting in each other's faces, and they both, I think, work really well on that environment. Yeah,
completely. And
yeah, I was going to say, I think that's real battle rap, kind of what you hinted at earlier. I think, like, being able to be, things are much more sterile than they used to be. Like, being interrupted and being talked over and heckled. I mean, when I started battling, 05, 06, that was constant. That if you were just on a sidewalk battling or in front of a venue, I mean, you really had to, like, win things over and keep it up. And I think that's what draws me to this battle, and both of them handled it really well.
Yeah, I mean, Kinell has fiery one-liners in the first. Half the country speak French, the other half lets them. Him on top saying sorry a lot. Sexes like Canada, GZ. Natalie Portman in Leon is invoked. He's rocking the brown bag. The Chris Benoit Canadian Kids line is pretty deep.
Yeah, he is like doing what I love. A big reason I love Cadalack Ron, rest in peace, that we're going to get to later, is pushing all these buttons and offending you and kind of daring you to cheer for him,
right? By
drawing lines and crossing them over and over again. I mean, it's like he's just being like a rhyming stand-up comedian. It's really incredible.
And Billy Shakes, who's someone I'm not too familiar with, to be honest with you, prior to watching this, his neck game, and I mean that in the sense of like barking a bar into someone's ear, getting very close to them, is unparalleled.
Yeah, he not only gets in Kinell's face in the first round, in the second round he addresses Bowski, Mickey Worthless, and gets in Mackenzie's face, and Mackenzie is like not having it. So being there in person, I mean, it was super tense. It was like, we're having fun, but then also might some punches be thrown, so
Mackenzie hugs him at the end.
Yeah.
Reconciliation is abundant there, which is good.
A roller coaster of emotion.
Yes, definitely. It's a kind of successful move from Kinell as well. He traveled 3,000 odd miles to say he looks like a chemtrail, which is flipped into the basement atmosphere. And I mean, who do you call winning this? It's quite a tense stalemate.
Ooh, I don't know. America wins for bringing all those guys over, and there were no fights, and nobody ended up in a cell overnight. And I mean, I don't know. I really like what both of them are doing. I think, all right, to be completely fair, I have Kinell edging it just because he did really bring 3 rounds, and he just makes me laugh. So.
Yeah, he's a real like diamond, isn't he, Kinell? Like such an original character.
Yes, I keep up with battle rap, but very few of the new guys. And when I say new, I mean like the last 5 years.
Sure.
Really like catch my ear or I follow. And Kinell, since before I met him and still ongoing, he's one of the very few people that have won me over that are newer to the scene. I really think he's consistently bringing really good jokes, and he's clearly just like on. I don't know how his brain works, but he's always able to deliver some really funny stuff.
And just out of interest, away from No Coast for a second, like your favorite UK battlers, past or present?
Oh, geez, Kruger definitely comes to mind. I can't vouch for him as a person, but I mean, I've been a huge fan of since the WRCs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kruger also, I'm really into like horrorcore rap and like those kind of like psycho elements in rap music. It's not what I do, but I'm like Cage is like one of my favorite rappers. And Kruger was making that kind of music really early on. And so I've like just been obsessed with him for a long time. Oh, and I also do video editing. He kills it at that. So, yeah, just a fan of everything Kruger does.
Yeah.
Kruger trying to think a third one. I'm going to wait. Does O'Shea count?
Oh, of course O'Shea counts.
Yeah. O'Shea for sure. I mean, come on. That guy's done I think 860 battles, something crazy.
Why hasn't No Coast got O'Shea over? O'Shea needs to battle on No Coast.
That's a damn good question.
That would be great.
Or we could go over there. I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I'll cross the seas.
So the next battle, freestyle battle, Jonny Storm versus Carter Deems.
I wasn't sure what you said. I blame delivery. Fuck with the bullshit you saying. You getting fricassee. You know the bars and you can't even spit with me. I saved the punch because you just a bitch to me.
Yo, you know the flow go. That's not a Royals logo. He just loves KC and really hates JoJo.
Yeah, another Chicago battle.
You know, not really seen in this environment together, are they?
Yeah, Carter has come and done freestyle tournaments with us before, and we just knew Jonny Storm was one of the best freestylers in the world. So I think these guys are probably both in the top 5 freestylers right now. And it's a shame that this wasn't the final match of the tournament. So, I mean, I think No Coast, I'd have to look at the numbers, but we have a huge collection of freestyle battles on our channel. And as far as a written league that does both, we definitely have the most of those, unless there's some hidden thing I haven't heard of. But we really try to throw freestyle tournaments and give people a chance to shine in that element, because it's also very fun. It fits what we do really well. And this was like a huge style clash where you have Jonny Storm being a traditionalist, you know, very hip-hop, very on, very sharp, and Carter Deems kind of being a little like postmodern about it, like, you know, coming up and openly not being confident and talking about, you know, how his mom is a nice lady. Yeah. And, you know, and that's got to be hard to freestyle, have it be entirely freestyle and kind of in character or partially in character. It's got to be a challenge. I mean, but, man, and I got to tell you, what Carter was doing, if he wasn't he had to be the best ever at doing that, because that crowd, it was like 3 a.m. Right. It's a mixed crowd, mostly a black audience, there to see, you know, street freestylers, and for him to get up there and do that takes a lot of balls. And so I think it's funny how people might look at Carter, but it's like, it's a tense situation to come up and tell those kind of jokes. And so he really had to win that crowd over, and I think he did a great job.
Yeah, there's an intimate interplay between both of them. I like when people point out flaws in each other's construction. Like, you know, he says, like, looking like he stole his shoes from a bowling alley, and he tries to do a gutter flip, but it's not quite clear what it is. And Storm, like, points that out in his round as well. And, you know, Carter is Carter. Yeah,
your delivery.
Yeah. Carter, give a girl a sandwich with no mayonnaise, keep it spinning like a fan blade. You know, these kind of nonsensical non sequiturs that are just, you know, so explosive for him.
Yeah, I think it's really great because the whole battle was just trading 4 bars back and forth, and that keeps them freestyling. There's no time to even work pre-meds in there. They're just going off each other's schemes. It's high energy the whole time. You know, it's just a perfect battle, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an excellent battle, quite a short battle. If people want to just check out a quick one, definitely check that one out. There is some really good writing from both of them. I mean, Carter's had quite a lot of good no-co showings, right?
Yeah, he's done a lot of battles with us. He, you know, when he came out here, he battled Dallas Cash the first time, and he used to use back in the day, early grind time, Carter's first 10 battles or so, he uses gun bars, and he never got too weird, nerdy, and self-deprecating. And then he came to No Coast, and he was like, I'm going to try something out. And he's talking about drinking too much milk and shitting his pants. And he's talking about cats and microwaves. And he just went full nerd. And he was never the same. So I'm not saying we made Carter Deems, but we definitely made Carter Deems.
Wow.
And, no, I'm joking, of course. But he really did, I think, feel more liberty, because we were known as the Weird League, or sure. We still are. But I think he felt more liberty. He knew the crowd would be on his side if he came and just went all the way with it. And he did, and he never went back. And I'm really happy that he likes hanging out with us and likes watching our battles. And you know, he comes to. We're very lucky that he comes and watches events that he's not even participating in. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And the next battle, quite a controversial battle, Unorthodox Phases versus Cadalack Ron.
I'm still ballin'. Don't mess with me. I'm not the dude. His idea of gangster is Phil Collins, especially when it's chopped and screwed. And he's come a long way studying the art of thug rhyming. But you'll never be forgotten for your part in Blood Diamond. And it must have been great working opposite Leo. And on break, he was the only black guy that would always miss free throws. I mean, this dude's so serious. You think this guy's kidding? If he were a normal black guy, I'd just give him fried chicken. Yo,
okay, we heard this whole round. Y'all be quiet. I guess I'm a black guy that talks white. I guess it's been a fact. But Whitey here is just being racist because his president is black. Now, do you understand why you can't be the best? Because white people like him mainly neglect the fact that if you act a little black when you rap, there's no chance for mainstream success.
You know, it's got a lot of agitation, I think, this battle, even though it's quite lauded.
Yes. The version that is on YouTube right now is like at less than 30,000 views, and it had more than that before we ended up deleting it because Blunt Boogie Records had signed Cadalack Ron, and they had him take it down because they didn't want to be connected to the controversy. And so it was down for like a year or two. And then luckily we had kept the original footage and put it back online. I guess we're kind of assuming that everybody's already seen it, but maybe we should explain.
Yeah. I mean, the video's edited by Mike Riggs and XQZ. I mean, Unorthodox Phrases, him versus Lush, that's kind of one of the battles that kicks off a giant movement, right?
Oh, yeah, that's huge. Yeah. And I think the fact that battle only has like 100,000 views, 150,000 views, I think that kind of shows that like a lot of people aren't completely following the storyline that is battle rap, and they're not catching those significant moments. And that things like that kind of make me feel better about us having lower view counts. It's like, well, you know, like this goes a level deeper, and it makes it more of like a special club that we know that's the turning point. You know, we know that's the birth of the Fresh Coast a cappella movement. But you know, it's nice to be on the inside of something. Of course, I'd love for Cadalack Ron versus Phrases to have 1 million views, but you know, people that know about it know about it.
And where's the controversy spring for you or for the viewer?
Oh, you're going to make me explain this, huh, Tom?
It's your league.
Okay. You're right. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way, and I'm going to tell the story of how this battle happened to me. People had heard, okay, so Cadalack Ron and Unorthodox Phrases were supposed to battle at a Grind Time event, and it didn't happen. Word got out that Caddy was going to do all racist bars. And at this time, it's like 2009, 2010, like nobody's really done that. People have only like made fun of, there's like the tantrum, dumbfounded thing, but nobody's just come up and done, you know, black people jokes. That's crazy. And so Phrases knew about it coming in. Phrases has all these flips ready, and he's going to flip it, and it's super tense. And we get the crowd together, and it's a mixed crowd on the campus here at the college, Mizzou, on the campus. The battle starts going down. We know what's going to happen, and it is just 10 times worse than any of us could have imagined. He is saying, oh my God, he's like, I can only see you when you smile in a dark room. Back in the days, we used to use you as shark food and harpoons, like on slave ships and stuff. I mean, he is doing something that was unimaginable. It's still pretty unthinkable. And he's just, oh my God, it's the most racist thing anybody's ever heard. And the climate of the battle got really tense. It doesn't fully translate on camera, but there was like a group of black college guys that are like kind of huddling in on Caddy Ron, and each round getting closer and kind of whisper heckling things to him. And you can hear him kind of trying to calm them down. So I wasn't hosting this, but I was like running the event, keeping everything on time. And so I'm off to the side, and in the middle of the battle, 2 squad cars pull up, 2 police cars pull up, and these cops get out, and they come to check on the battle. And I like run up and cut them off, and I'm like, hey, we're just doing a thing here because we don't have a permit. And I'm explaining to them that we'll be done soon, and it's peaceful, and we're just doing some man poetry, like trying to put it in context for them. And they just go, okay, we're going to check it out. And I'm like, oh my God. They walk up. They hear what Cadalack Ron is doing, telling the most racist jokes imaginable. They look at me, they're like, we're okay with this, and they walk away, and that's it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One undertone. Yeah, Emmett Till is mentioned in the first. Took a horrible murder.
In the first.
Yeah. Him getting murdered gave Lush a decision. His eye twitching with white rhythm.
Yeah.
It's Unorthodox, he fights back, but I think Caddy, it's just a lot of outrage. Like you say, you can see the crowd getting, slightly more hostile as it continues.
Yeah, we were all shocked, and a lot of people were really offended. Sadly, I think this was the wrong place to make the point that Caddy Ron was trying to make, which is like, hey, we should be equal in our spread of hateful rhymes, and kind of pointing out like, hey, you think it's okay to make fun of Asians, but it should be okay to do this too. It's kind of one or the other. And okay, that's somewhat of a valid point. But the fact is that crowd was mostly white. The campus here, like Missouri, is known for its racist history. The state we're in, it's in LA, I think like you have everybody hanging out. You have to deal with all these different sorts of people. Here in Missouri, it is still very segregated, and racism is like ever present. And so to do it here made it more real. It made it more hard to get in on the joke or the self-awareness of it. And people were ready to, if he hadn't turned it around in the third and explained himself, I mean, I'll just say I'm really happy he did. He did his thing though. He kept decent crowd control and he got through it. And Cadalack Ron, one of my favorite battlers. Huge loss. Happy, but it's just honestly, I had mixed feelings about the whole battle.
Yeah. His mother breastfeeding, she lactates black paste, goes in on great grandfather heritage, and it is pretty baseless. Some of it, it's pretty harsh, but it's memorable. And it's definitely an affecting watch. And if you want to have something that's shocking on a certain level, definitely check that out. But we'll go to the final battle, which was a title match for someone who's held the title for a long, long time. Am I right? XQZ versus deadBeat.
Got an annoying sounds. I'm going to take it and boil it down. Because you got lots of flaws, Steve, and I'd like to point them out. Point them stone, look a bro. Own, look a bro. No flow, Joe, crooked nose, look a bro.
You are so damn short you'd wear platforms when Anna was timekeeper. That's why he battled Al Hindi all dressed up like Saturday Night Fever. Made that dude sound like an African tribe leader, and you look like a rat fucked a hyena, and you're so small you'd probably die if you got stabbed with a pipe cleaner.
Yeah, 18-year straight title holder, XQZ. I'm just joking, but he has had the title since I think 2009. So the battle XQZ versus deadBeat, it happened in front of a really big crowd at the biggest down here called Blue Note, and both of the guys were newer to battling, and they were kind of doing just a talk style. They didn't do a lot to win over the crowd. So it was poor audio. The battle wasn't that great. deadBeat used all Jewish jokes, and deadBeat ended up taking it. And so there was a lot of like, people weren't happy with that being our title match. So we removed it from YouTube, and then this was the rematch. So it was really cool of deadBeat to say like, okay, we'll do it again. I beat you, but let's try it again. And ever since this rematch, title match, XQZ has won every single one since then.
Yeah, and deadBeat, quite a young guy, right?
We were all young. They're younger. I'm trying to think about it.
I think he was 19 at the time. It's kind of mentioned in the battle.
Yeah, XQZ would have been 19, and deadBeat would have had to be like 20 or 21. Sure. So we were kids,
And the scene seemed pretty vibrant then. This was September 2010. Seemed to be quite a resurgence. Yeah,
this is our first like national event, and so everybody's really excited to have all these names out, and it's kind of the first time or the first big wave of like, hey, I know all these people from the message boards and from Grind Time, and now they're here, so it was good. We were growing and growing quick. It was great. And then it's in the same place, Stankowski Field on Mizzou campus. And unknowingly, we booked it basically in XQZ's frat house's backyard. Like you can, I think, see it in some of the shots, and none of us realized that So there's like a fun mixed crowd of out-of-town rappers, guys, and then my like hipster and punk rock friends. So it's kind of interesting mix of people.
Yeah, and it translates. It's a fun mention. XQZ weirdly mentions the Goon Squad and shouts out Eric Foreman, which is a very 2010 thing to do. Shout out Eric Foreman, though. Had a great episode with him recently. But he goes with it strong, I think. And I think deadBeat, again, takes it, to him to a certain extent. But XQZ just has that style, I think, over the long run of the rounds.
Yeah, kind of what I said about mood swings earlier. Like XQZ, he's very technical, but at the same time, he doesn't let his rhymes get in the way of what he's saying. Nothing is forced. He's just saying what he needs to say. And man, some of his jokes. I judged that battle, and I never remember who I gave it to because it was a split decision. It's just so close. Man, I mean, this is back when they wanted it. These guys want to battle. There was like something to prove, and they both just have so much material and so many jokes and angles, and it's just like, I think it's like 10 minutes long. It feels like it could have been, an hour of them just going at it, but it's a great watch.
And I mean, that rounds out the top 5, but in terms of other battles you can think of off the top of your head, maybe that you recommend people to check out?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, definitely Mudslinger versus Madness. Mudslinger she only has 4 or 5 battles, but she's actually a professional actress. And so she's very comfortable in the ring, and she's very funny. She's really charismatic. And this is Madness in his prime, 2010. It's on Valentine's Day. We actually submitted it to the TV show Tosh.0, Daniel Tosh's show. And it was like a fan submission where people voted on what fan video of the week would be on his on Comedy Central. And we got number 1 with a bullet. Like we got like way more votes than anybody, and then they didn't put it on the show. So we had to watch the episode and find out that they had screwed us. But no beef there. It's all in the past. But it's great. So it spread further than YouTube basically when it came out, and that's a classic one. Oh man, lots of funny stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of like fun, cringy moments too. There's a compilation called The Absolute Best of No Coast that somebody from OTBVA made, and it's just amazing. Like it's oh my God. I mean, some of our tryout battles and some of us when we were still finding our footing, it's just awful, like dirty appropriation, just awkward moments. I mean, you don't know how much of that I've had to sit through in real life. So to have other people enjoy it and kind of bring it together is actually very rewarding. And, it's like, what are you going to do? I have to celebrate it. Of course we try to avoid awkward moments, but I mean, come on, like, a lot of us are white and we let in new guys. So that's what you get. But, Absolute Best of No Coast. Shit, man, Reverse Live versus Real Deal comes to mind. That was a great battle. That was crazy. Yeah, it's just, I feel so lucky being able to stand so close. Like, it's surreal having somebody you followed for a decade on YouTube as they like climbed as an artist, gained notoriety, and then you're enjoying it as entertainment. And then the next thing you know, you're collaborating, and then you're standing 3 feet from them, contributing in framing their material. It's just, man, it really is like, is super rewarding. And, I'm okay with my position. I think we do have these diehard fans, and they kind of don't know why No Coast isn't bigger, because we are all over the Midwest. We do have a wide reach and a giant pool of talent that are regulars, but it's like I'm okay with my position just being a footnote in the history of battle rap, having contributed what I've contributed. There's some classics there, and I think if you're really paying attention, following the storyline, you're aware of us, at least, on the peripherals, and I'm cool with that. I like to contribute however I can.
And you yourself do some podcasting for No Coast, don't you?
Yeah, not anymore, because I took this serious job. I took this, I was working for the last 6 months. I worked 6 12-hour shifts a week, saving money to go back to college. And so I'm going back to college, and so I haven't been able to focus on music and art as much. But we did do like 20 or 30 episodes of the No Coast podcast. And I know there's an episode that's all about mood swings versus the Saurus. And so if you wanted like more in depth on that, or if you're like a hardcore No Coast fan and you wanted far more in depth like story of how we started, it is pretty interesting. And there's, I think, 3 episodes total that cover our origin stories. I interview people a lot like you. If I try to catch people at events, or if I'm in the same town, and I do interviews. I just interviewed this punk band last night. I'm really into all sorts of music besides battle rap. I know everybody says that, but I really am. I try to stay involved with the scene and capture it and do a little bit of journalistic work when I can. Oh, I got a great interview with Lush One. That's probably my favorite interview I've done. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I'll pop the link in the description so people can check that out. I'm definitely going to listen to some. Lush is always a good guest. So, yeah, they're always great episodes. But people should definitely check that out. Check out all the battles we've spoken about. Let us know your favourite No Coast battles in the comments. Recommend some good ones, please. And how do people get out your other stuff, man? Your music, your writing, that sort of stuff?
Oh, it's easy. I use my real name on everything. So just Kelly Betz. You'll see the spelling in the title of this. On Facebook is the main thing I use, Instagram. If you wanted to contact me for a possible interview or collaboration musically, it's Kelly Betz TV, as in television, kellybetztv@gmail.com. I'm out there, man. I'm easy to reach. Always looking for, new ideas and concepts and to kind of capture what's going on. So I'm about it, Don't feel afraid to hit me up.
Yeah, this has been fantastic to explore, a little known corner really on Battle Rap Resume. We have discussed, I've had HQZ on actually with a crafty episode, if I recall. I think we spoke for like 40 minutes on their 8th birthday battle, which is far too long. No offense to those guys, but I remember it went on a little bit. But yeah, it's great to have someone on who's such an expert for the league and to go through these battles. So I want to urge everyone again, check out the battles, if you haven't before, if you have now with the criticism there. And please follow us on all the channels as well. Get in touch, battleresume.com, Patreon, leave us a review on iTunes, check out our store, pick yourself up a beanie with the logo, check out all of Kelly's stuff, check out No Coast, subscribe to the league. But Kelly, thanks again, man. This has been great.